Okay, so here we go. You know those women who sort out and make an inventory of their whole wardrobe for like every single season? It's not me. Did you also miss autumn wardrobe sort out season? That's fine, because I am the queen of retrospectively justifying why I have failed. And my reason this time is that Britain really only has 2 seasons. I think spring, honestly, is about 3 weeks long here, and autumn is the same. So I don't regret missing autumn capsule wardrobe season. Time optimization means that it's always winter, never Christmas.
Always winter, never Christmas. Think of that.
Plus energy crisis, so really who has the time to wear anything that's only slightly warm? Okay, I think it's best that I show you what we're working with. Not too shabby, right? Wrong. This is what the camera hides. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Mavis, you in there? Mavis, get out of there. Put you back in the puppet's basement when you belong. If you are anything like me, you will have downsized and sorted and donated parts of your wardrobe several times. There's some video evidence of me doing that up here. But because of your day-to-day lack of discipline and organisation and the architecture within which you interact with your clothes, you end up not wearing a lot of them because you have them all out at once and you get decision fatigue. But today, all that changes. I've got a new plan. I'm a new woman. While I think my clean outs have been really effective in the past, because I haven't had a real holistic system for my sorts, I've just gone through everything I own and recirculated all the stuff that I didn't think I wanted anymore. It didn't stick. So today I have built myself a little 6-step system to renewing my wardrobe for the winter that I think could maybe push the needle forward for me and my relationship with wardrobes. Wardrobes? It is a drab. It's a wardrobe at this point. From wardrobe to wardrobe. Okay, so the first step is sorting, obviously. But what I'm doing differently from last time is that I'm giving myself a time limit. This kind of task really is something that will stretch for the time available. And in the past, I've spent upwards of 4 to 5 hours on it, which is frankly unacceptable. So we're gonna set a timer of an hour and hope for the best. The second stage is to store stuff. I actually now have a loft. I've never had a loft before, so I'm gonna put a lot of the clothes that I love but are genuinely summer clothes away from me up in the sky, because even though I like looking at them every day, it does slow down my process of getting dressed, because in reality they're too cold to wear. Then I'm gonna recirculate the things that I don't want. I'm gonna give some TLC and some care to the stuff that I do want to use and keep, but is looking a little bit like it's staggering out of a Wetherspoons at 2 in the morning holding an empty bottle of tequila. Then I'm going to mend. Battery may run out soon. Me too. I'm gonna mend the stuff that's broken or needs alteration. And then finally, I'm gonna add a very few conscious, ethically traded options that will go with everything else I have and maybe rejuvenate me wearing the stuff that I don't wear that much. Get it? Got it? Good. So I put my headphones in and I set a timer for an hour, because we all know that to achieve greatness, you just need a really good plan and not quite enough time. I started with the clothes that were hanging up because that felt way more manageable. And then I moved down to the piles of doom afterwards. You gotta warm yourself up. My biggest recommendation when you're doing this is to listen to something really upbeat. I actually did turn off my audiobook for this because I could not concentrate with all the big decisions to be made. And also having a really giant mug of tea. A clear mind and caffeinated is what we're aiming for here. Okay, so here we go. Oh, that's my neighbour. Nothing funny going on here. Mission achieved, admittedly in 90 minutes, not 60, but not bad. Let me show you what we've got. Clothes that at the moment don't quite fit me, and also summer clothes that are just too cold to wear between the months of October and May. Clothes that need to be fixed in some way. I'm not saying we're getting through this whole pile today, but at least we know what the problem is. Clothes that I need to put in storage, but first I need to wash. Clothes and shoes that can be given to the charity shop or given away to friends, or maybe sold on Depop if I'm feeling particularly entrepreneurial. And these are some very synthetic polyester jersey fabrics that are really at the end of their life. So I am going to upcycle them into cushion stuffing, probably, or something similar. What I learned from reading the book Consumed with Ash in this video was that if you're giving away clothes that are of low quality to a charity shop, they're often usually going to end up in the global south or straight in landfill. So since reading that book, when I know something has really deteriorated in quality, I tend to try and reuse it or dispose of it myself rather than dumping it on the doorsteps of volunteers. So let's pack up the summer clothes and then we'll get to work. So store is kind of self-explanatory. I made sure everything I wanted to pack away was washed and nice and clean and didn't have any nasty surprises or, you know, science experiments in the pockets. And then I packed it all away into this cardboard box, ready to store away for the winter. You might want to consider mothballs or plastic wrapping for this, but what can I say? I'm a woman on the edge. I'll update you in spring if that backfires, but here we are. Voila! Now, I've made other videos about recirculating, so I won't go on too much about it here, but it just means giving the clothes away, but with some responsibility, thinking where's the best place for them, where can they logically be used. I have a video up here that I recorded with Ash where we discuss Aja Barber's book Consumed, and we talk about the kind of weird habit Westerners have of giving away clothes to charity shops that they wouldn't wear themselves because they're in a worse condition, and the kind of problems with that. And that definitely, reading that book definitely changed my attitude to what I give to charity shops and what I try to upcycle in other ways. I also have a Depop video if you're interested in selling your clothes, and there are a million videos online if you're thinking of upcycling them, turning them into other things, chopping them up and using them as cushion stuffing. There's so much out there on ways to recirculate your clothes, but finding them a new home, whether that is just putting it on your Instagram close friends and seeing if there's anyone in your actual life who would definitely want them, and if not, donating them, selling them, trying to pass them as directly into the hands of the next person who will wear them. The aim is to divert as much as possible from landfill. Please and thank you. Care can mean a lot of things depending on the kind of fabrics you have in your collection. I have some eco silk which just needs some ironing on a really low setting, and I also have some wool. I only wash my wool rarely because it's a natural fibre and it's kind of self-cleaning, just like a vulva, really. All the natural stuff just cleans itself. But I do give it a shave like Shaun the sheep every so often. While I'm not over the moon about using wool in general, it does last the longest, and I try and buy secondhand and take proper care of the wool items that I have, so I'm giving the most respect to the resources and the sheep that went into each piece. I shave the pilling off my wool and synthetic jumpers every few months. You can get these kind of shavers online or also at your local haberdashery. They're total lifesavers, and mine is rechargeable with a phone charger. Ideal. Also incredibly satisfying to do. Okay, so in the mending pile, one of the first problem children is this top. I can't count how many videos I've worn this top in. I must have had it for at least 6 or 7 years, and it was secondhand when I got it. Its decline is particularly devastating because my other staple long sleeve layering top, well, I don't know if you can see through this, but yes, there are several real holes, but actual whole parts of the fabric have just started to wear away. Fun fact, that is on the side that I carry my shoulder bag. Look at that. And then this one from the front looks fine, but well. Now if it was just one hole, I'd consider patching it up, but this is obviously a chronic issue that isn't going away. I think basically it's just through wear, but also I've put on a little bit of weight recently, and that usually goes to my arms. Very annoying. However, the astute among you might have recognised this top, which again I've had for years, but complained about the fitting because the arms had really lost all of their shape. And then last night I was watching a dress tutorial where somebody made sleeves like this, and I was like, what if I just cut off the sleeves and use that material to make little ruffles so that my arms don't need to fit in the top for me to keep the top? I'm a certified genius. I was actually floored that it worked this well. So I'm gonna do that to this stripy top and see if we can save it. The next one is a favorite you've seen before. Originally, I got it secondhand off Depop for Craig, but he shunned it. So I've been wearing it ever since, or should I say, have been thinking about wearing it ever since. But I often avoid wearing it because if I wanna roll it down, it doesn't really fit over my belly, not in a very comfortable way. And if I wanna tuck it in, there's just simply too much fabric. It's just too much. So to make me wear it more, my plan, I've seen the Instagram sewing girls do this, is to take off this bottom panel that's stretchy and reattach it a little bit further up and cut off the material in between. Do you see? Do you see? We'll see. Leena, what's wrong with these? These are perfect. They seem that way until 5'2" lady problems. They are just too darn long. Now usually that wouldn't bother me, I would just roll them up like I do my other ones, but because the fabric on these is like bright white, I just don't think it looks good. I need to take them up properly because it's preventing me from wearing them, and seems like a pretty straightforward thing, but I still haven't got around to it, so I reckon we can do that today. It's also time to rectify my alteration sins, because last time I tried to take up a pair of trousers, I just bent down like this and was like, yeah, that's about where I want them to come. Marked them, stood up, cut them up, sewed them, and this was the result. So we won't be doing that again now, will we, Leena?
Overall, these men's went well. There was a little bit of unpicking, a little bit of logistic working out, but I feel like with sewing you can just sit there for a little while, chewing the fat and use logic and fix a lot of problems you might come up as a beginner sewer. Mine still turned out fine, even though I'd never done any of these fixes before. I'm not going to show you the big reveal until the end, but I just want to say that if you're interested in taking up sewing, I taught myself to sew in lockdown with a child's sewing machine, and I was really surprised how easy it was to get to a level where you can fix simple things. It's one of those skills that if you pour a couple of hours into, you can become like livably proficient quite fast. I find it really interesting that people are really hesitant about sewing and see it as a specialist skill, but so many people drive. Like, driving is so much harder than sewing. If you can drive, you can sew. If you can't drive, you could probably sew. And even if the piece of clothing that you're fixing does eventually have to go from your wardrobe, if you extend the life of a piece of clothing by about 9 months, it can reduce its carbon waste and water footprint by up to 30%. So if you think you've got another 9 months in it, go for it, mate. It is worth it.
Okay, and finally we come on to the new. Full disclaimer, this video isn't sponsored, and Lucy and Yak don't know I'm making this video, but I did get these clothes as part of my Instagram partnership with them. I basically get a little float of vouchers to spend as and when I spot something that's genuinely gonna add value to my life. So here are the 3 things I ordered. Woo! Oh my god, there's nothing like that rush, is there? As mentioned, my long-sleeved basics are severely lacking in my wardrobe at the moment. So I got this rather jazzy number that's definitely not digital camera friendly, but easy on the human eye. Let's try this on. Okay, fits perfectly, very soft. Happy with that. Oh my god. I love it. It's done. I ordered this because it looked like it was somewhere between a jumper and a top, and I was right. I already feel really, really cozy, and I don't think I've ever had a top this colour, but I think I like it. And then thirdly, this, what I've recently learned a new phrase, shacket, shirt jacket, shacket, because I really wanted something cozy for layering that I wouldn't have to wash loads because it's loose fitting and could take a bit of a battering. Do you know what I mean? And corduroy fits that for me. So let's see what it looks like on. Woohoo! God, shopper's high is real, isn't it? It's dangerous. Not the point, Leena. Oh wow. Bigger than expected, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun. It's a really nice warm brown that doesn't wash me out. I also like that it's definitely gonna be big enough that I can wear jumpers underneath it. Perfect. What's the catch?
Okay, here we are. We come to the satisfying bit. I've organised all my hanging up clothes in order of what type of clothes they are. So dungarees, dresses, skirts, tops. And then down below I've got all of my knitwear in a little box because hanging knitwear is bad for it, so I have it below there. we can all breathe out. I'm so much calmer when I open my wardrobe now, and also when I wear clothes that I know that I'm treating well, and I'm also trying to treat the people who made them well. It's just baseline logical. I don't think I'm a saint for that, but it is kind of calmer to have that almost consistency in how I treat the people I actually meet in physical real life and the people that I'll probably never meet but are making the clothes. It really means a lot to me that my wardrobe is interchangeable, it's imaginative, and most importantly, it gets worn. Did you know that it's estimated that £30 billion worth of clothes are sitting unworn in the back of UK wardrobes? 30 billion. 1 million is a billion. My brain is exploding. And I know, look, there are loads of actions we can take to make our lives more effective, and lobbying governments is one of them. But alongside that is the fact that the fashion industry is on track to use 26% of the planet's carbon budget by 2050. We can't be having it. We can't be having it. So practices like this are small rebellions for me. They're not the whole of the kind of actions I'd like to take, and they're not going to change the world on their own, but they are also pretty vital. Just like drinking your 2 litres of water a day isn't going to make your whole holistic health completely perfect, but without doing that, you're going to get yourself a ghoulies infection. Do you know what I mean? So this kind of practice with your wardrobe isn't meant to limit you. It's more to restore a balance to our approach to wardrobes. I'm not saying never buy new stuff. Obviously, I have introduced new stuff in this video, but just considering how many things you let in and how versatile they really are, will they work with the stuff you already own? At the end of the day, I kind of want my wardrobe to look like the wardrobes of the future or even the past, but I just know that there's this weird blip of 100 years in which I happen to have been born, in which human history and wardrobes has just got really wacky. And I just want to adjust back to what I know wardrobes will have to be like in the future, and doing this kind of thing every 6 months really helps me think about that. I cannot wait to get my summer clothes out again and to get the endorphins from getting new stuff without actually getting new stuff. Hopefully you can see from the pieces that I'm wearing here that this is more than enough to keep me occupied for those winter months and looking stylish. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to watch more videos on having a more conscious wardrobe, I have a whole playlist here. And if you are ready to dive into some positive panic and hear about the climate, but in a cheerful way, I promise I do have a series about that too. This video is made possible by the Gumption Club, who tip me per video to make sure these videos can keep happening. Thank you so much, and good luck with your winter wardrobes. Frog Snog out.